and no assistance or liberality commensurate with the calamity that was visited on us has been extended. Yet ours must have been the cheapest revolution ever. With little help from others, we Filipinos fulfilled the first and most difficult condition of the debt negotiation, the full restoration of democracy and responsible government. Elsewhere and in other times of more stringent world economic conditions, Marshall Plans and their like were felt to be necessary companions of returning democracy. When I met with President Reagan, we began an important dialogue about cooperation and the strengthening of friendship between our two countries. That meeting was both a confirmation and a new beginning. I am sure it will lead to positive results in all areas of common concern. Today, we face the aspiration of a people who had known so much poverty and massive unemployment for the past 14 years, and yet offer their lives for the abstraction of democracy. Wherever I went in the campaign, slum area or impoverished village, they came to me with one cry: democracy. Not food, although they clearly needed it, but democracy. Not work, although they surely wanted it, but democracy. Not money, for they gave what little they had to my campaign. They didn't expect me to work a miracle that would instantly put food into their mouths, clothes on their back, education in their children, and give them work that will put dignity in their lives. But I feel the pressing obligation to respond quickly as the leader of a people so deserving of all these things. We face a communist insurgency that feeds on economic deterioration, even as we carry a great share of the free world defenses in the Pacific. These are only two of the many burdens my people carry, even as they try to build a worthy and enduring house for their new democracy that may serve as well as a redoubt for freedom in Asia. Yet no sooner is one stone laid than two are taken away. Half our export earnings, $2 billion out of $4 billion, which is all we can earn in the restrictive markets of the world, must go to pay just the interest on a debt whose benefit the Filipino people never received. Still, we fought for honor, and if only for honor, we shall pay. And yet, should we have to wring the payments from the sweat of our men's faces and sink all the wealth piled up by the bondsman's 250 years of unrequited toil? Yet, to all Americans, as the leader of a proud and free people, I address this question: has there been a greater test of national commitment to the ideals you hold dear than that my people have gone through? You have spent many lives and much treasure to bring freedom to many lands that were reluctant to receive it. And here you have a people who won it by themselves and need only the help to preserve it. years ago, I said, "Thank you, America, for the haven from oppression and the home you gave Ninoy, myself, and our children, and for the 3 happiest years of our lives together." Today, I say, join us, America, as we build a new home for democracy, another haven for the oppressed, so it may stand as a shining testament of our two nations' commitment to freedom.
President Corazon C. Aquino, in her speech before the joint session of the Congress of the United States of America. I'm still with Norman Ornstein, and Norman, the speech was interrupted 10 times in its course, and I guess it is obvious that the response has been enthusiastic.
Wildly enthusiastic, I would say, Orly. We can see Mrs. Aquino leaving. It's going to take her a while to get out of this chamber, because I think you're going to find all kinds of members of Congress. Those are mostly the leaders now near the front of the chamber, who will want to shake her hand. She is a celebrity of sorts in this country now. And I think she will probably exchange greetings with some members of Congress who she's met over the years, and others who are just going to crowd forward to the front of the aisles to try to reach out and shake her hand, exchange a word or two. This was a very, very well-received speech, very cleverly presented, I might add.
I think it's balanced, considering the fact that we all know there are differences as far as stances as regards aid or policy towards the Philippines is concerned. Between the Democrats and the Republicans, and even amongst the Republicans, there are those who are more to the right.
Yes. There are definitely some conservative Republicans who are fearful that President Aquino is going to be too soft towards the communists and the communist insurgency. And then there are members of Congress, frankly, on both sides of the aisle who are feeling the economic pinch right now, the tremendous budget pinch. But what Mrs. Aquino did was to draw in both sides, talking about her commitment to democracy and her desire to avoid bloodshed at almost any turn, but also indicating her determination to keep the Philippines free.
All right, so let us try to analyze and answer the guide questions. What were the main points in former President Corazon Aquino's speech in the U.S. Congress? All right, number one, she reiterated her experience as a wife of uh, of Ninoy Aquino, and she also reiterated the experiences of the Filipinos in searching for democracy, and also she reiterated the $26 billion debts that the previous administration committed, and her government is trying to pay. Also, she she also tells about the communist insurgency in the Philippines. From the start, it's around 500 and leading to 16,000 by the time that the previous administration fled to for to a foreign country. All right, so uh, that's it. So next is, what have you observed from the video, from the start of the video? Yes, it seems that the American congressman had this admiration for Mrs. Corazon C. Aquino, or former President Corazon C. Aquino. Now the question is, why? Why? Now, for me, on my note, I believe the U.S. congressmen were amazed that despite of the fact that uh, she experienced many hardships in her political career and her family, she's there standing uh, in front of them. And aside from the fact that she's a lady, a woman, the first woman president of the Philippines. All right. The question is, why was she there? Why was former President Corazon C. Aquino there in the United States Congress? Well, probably she was invited. So we'll try to uh, add more answers to that question. But before that, we'll try to answer the next question. What significant conclusion can be given to the speech of former President Corazon Aquino to the U.S. Congress? So, um, that number one, the significance is number one is America is our friend, and America will always be there to help us. And America is a lover of democracy. All right, and the Philippines also is a lover of democracy. All right, so was the U.S. Congress the appropriate venue for addressing the concerns of the Philippines as addressed by former President Corazon Aquino? Technically, no, because the issues and problems of the Philippines should be reiterated to our Philippine Congress. So, again, going back to my previous question, why was she there in the U.S. Congress? She was there to convince the U.S. congressmen to grant the Philippines the loan that it needs. Now, why? The United States of America's president cannot give any amount or cannot guarantee any amount to any countries for a loan except with the approval of the US Congress. That's why she's there or she was there. Now, and in fact, after her speech, if you will dig into historical records, the $200 million was uh, released or was approved by the US Congress for the Philippines. All right. So, any more questions? Class dismissed. Bye.